doubt some of them would be, but this is my favorite. I'm sure a lot of them will be familiar to you. But before we get started, I want y'all to let me know if you like this video, because I'm thinking about doing some more with PS2 and PS4, maybe Xbox, Wii, and maybe even a top of all consoles combined. So either drop a comment, let me know you like these, or just leave me a like. If we get enough of them, I'll do another. So how this works is I'm going to talk about these games, what they mean to me, and describe the context, the story a little bit. And then, while I'm doing that, I'm going to show you some gameplay as well of these games. So hopefully you'll have a little bit of auditory as well as visual ASMR, and it'll be interesting. Let's just get into it. The first one is going to be Bioshock. I could have picked a lot. Bioshock 1, Bioshock 2, Bioshock Infinite. Here's the story. You're in the city of Rapture. The city of Rapture is underwater. Kind of like, if you can remember, like Atlantis. A little bit like Atlantis. And you have these people who have gone doorknob sucking crazy. And, man, you have these little children, these little demon children that are called little sisters. And these little demon children go around taking life from individuals, and sort of the nectar of life, if you will. And you have these big old boys in suits called Big Daddies. The Big Daddies protect the little sisters. Well, you get there from a crash plane. You've got no idea of what's going on, where you are. You go into a lighthouse. The lighthouse takes you down into Rapture, and you see all of this madness, this insanity. And the first game is very much about you just trying to survive. You can harvest the little sisters, I believe, in the first one, but it's a really good game. Now the second one, you are the Big Daddy, which I think Bioshock had the coolest sequel with that. You can now be the crazy dude. You have a freaking drill for an arm, and you're a real dude in there, but you're looking for your little sister, because in your world, the little sisters are not evil demon babies. They are, something to be cherished. And so you're the Big Daddy. And then in Infinite, it's like that, except you go into the sky to this cult utopia, and you're trying to save a girl from the clock tower from this giant freaking robot bird, and it's just so good. Y'all, let me tell you something. It is hard for me to pick which one was the best, but I would say Infinite, then Bioshock 2, then Bioshock, and like, how often is that you have a game that actually gets better as it goes? They remastered this for the PS4, and you can go on and play it, but it has these sort of Borderlands style, timeless graphics, where it was never meant to be super realistic. So I think one problem people have going back and playing these older games is the game's just such a dip in quality, controls reaction time, and Bioshock in my mind is timeless because it never tried to be that. It's the same thing I think about Borderlands. So number one, this is in no particular order. The first one, Bioshock. Okay, the next one. Civilization Revolution. This is by Sid Meier. Civilization Revolution. I'm gonna tell you, there is not, I don't think, a single PS3 game that I still play, but I still play Civilization Revolution. I freaking love this game. In this game, this is a world builder game. Again by 2K. You've seen Bioshock 2K as well. This is super simple. You are one of the great figures of history: Abraham Lincoln, Napoleon Bonaparte, Genghis Khan, Julius Caesar, and you're creating dynasty cities, very small maps, super simple. You build a city, you say, okay, build a barracks. Yes, sir. A couple turns, you have a barracks. Where I use this is just total brain and mind numbing at the end of the long day to sit there and do something that requires thought, but not to your detriment. I don't want to see the thousands of civilians scampering around like Anno 1600 or any of those. I actually don't really even like strategy games that much, but there's something special about this game. I think I got this at like a bargain bin too, and it's still the only game that I play, and I play it on the Xbox S now. It's in the store. I think I've bought it in every store I could find. But Sid Meier's Civilization Revolution, absolutely, I think the best, one of the best games, but certainly the best strategy game of all time. The next one I might have to explain a little bit, and it is Assassin's Creed. Not that I have to explain Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed's wonderful, but why I picked the first one. When's the last time you saw an original Assassin's Creed? Isn't that cool? So, I picked the first Assassin's Creed for one very reason. What it means to me, and also, it was the beginning of an era. I was very young when this came out, and I guess I wasn't that young. I was 14, young enough that I had no job and couldn't afford anything, but my parents, for Christmas, like, they usually don't give me anything for Christmas. I mean, they get me something. They're not awful parents, but they usually, like, $100 max limit, and they bought me a freaking PlayStation 3 this year. I don't know why. I still don't know why, but in order to go with that, the first game that I bought for the PS3 was this Assassin's Creed game. I was so excited when I saw the launch trailer for Assassin's Creed. The stealth missions, the storyline, the Knights Crusaders. I had a thing with Crusaders when I was younger. I don't know why, but the stealth missions, the story, just the cutscenes, the interact back then. You know, you didn't really have that. The cutscenes, and then boom, you were in it. Like, you had a mob of people, someone standing on a scaffold about ready to execute someone, and you'd have a cutscene, and then boom, it'd be back to you, and you're in the cutscene moving around. It was just so cool. Now, this obviously was not the best Assassin's Creed ever released. In my opinion, the best Assassin's Creed ever released is Black Flag, but I could also go with the Ezio Collection or even Assassin's Creed 3. Those are phenomenal. Assassin's Creed 1, definitely not the best, but it harbored in a new genre of games. It harbored in a new storyline, and truly was amazing. I remember walking around executing all the civilians before they put on that, like, mandatory death. You start and you get desynchronized. Yeah, okay. Suck it, pal. Desynchronized me. But gosh, just the memories with this game and what it eventually was able to do, and just have so many great games, that's why it's got to be on here. I'm gonna save this one for last because this one I think is the best. I'm actually gonna give y'all a bonus, so we're gonna have 6 sports champions too. Let me explain. This is the one that needs the explanation. It could be Sports Champions 1 as well. They say that there is a sucker born every minute, and I am that sucker. I was born on the minute of action games, wireless motion controllers. I was a sucker and am a sucker for that. I love the Wii. Never understood why that technology no one cares about. People, kids these days, not to sound like a cranky old man, but kids these days sit there on a couch, stare at some sort of brain rotting device, and they don't move. They do not move. Man, I used to love being in the game, and to me, the motion controller was awesome, and the headset as well, the VR goggles, which came out at a later time, were even cooler. I remember just sitting there with my headphones on, sitting in a theater. Hulu had a theater setting, and just watching a movie with that. Like, I have always been a sucker for these things. The boxing was cool. The fighting was cool. The golf was always cool. I wish they did stuff like this, y'all. I wish they still did these motion controller stuff, and not like the Nintendo Switch kind of thing, like a true immersion kind of thing, like the Vader Immortal kind of stuff, like truly putting you in there. I just think it's so cool. Okay, next. Gosh. There's two games here, and both of them you've heard of, and both of them I would go as far as to say changed my life. I mean, just phenomenal games that I have spent probably combined months of my life on, if not days. We're gonna do it like this. This is how we're gonna do. Number 2, The Last of Us. I told y'all this is not a collection or a top 5 of what I think are the best games ever made. This is the exception to the rule. I think this might single-handedly be one of the best games ever made. Naughty Dog did something right with this guy. I don't remember why I bought this. I don't remember if I anticipated it, but I know I bought it at full price, and I never used to buy games at full price, so clearly I thought it was worth having. You are Joel. That is Ellie. You, as Joel, are stuck in some sort of post-apocalyptic. They're not zombies. They're kind of like mold people. Mold and fungus took over these people and turned them into creatures. Lost your daughter. Died at this, and basically turned to a life of crime. You meet Ellie, who is in the encampment that Joel is in, and Joel is commissioned to smuggle Ellie to somewhere, and along that ride, she reminds him of his daughter, and they form this sort of daughter-father relationship. And I gotta tell y'all, it should be against the law for a game to make you feel like this game does, and to attach you, to make you attached to the characters like this. And by the way, I'm not a fan, typically, and I think there's a reason why. I think the game to movies and game to TV shows have been atrocious. Borderlands. You know Minecraft is gonna suck. Have you seen the trailer for that? It is gonna blow. That HBO series that they made for The Last of Us, they did it right. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. They did such a good job with that. So, The Last of Us is number 2, which I cannot believe. What kind of world do we live in that The Last of Us is number 2? But it makes you feel. It makes you hurt. It makes you cry. It makes you laugh. It makes you sing. This game should get a college degree, a pat on the back, a lottery ticket, and a restraining order all in one. Like, this game covers the basis, and I'm a big sucker for story games, and I don't think there has hardly ever been a story told like The Last of Us as good as it has been. I can only imagine what it would look like now, like in today's technology and whatnot, because they've dug I think a lot of the surprise, even if it does look incredible now, like, you know what it's gonna look like as you play the other version. It doesn't take away from how good the game is. Okay. Number one, this game truly changed my life, and there's a decent chance to change yours too. Modern Warfare. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I'll be honest with you. Call of Duty, it was a good game. Was not on my top list. The early Call of Duties, they were okay. The Battlefields, they were okay. Then Call of Duty 4 hit, and it was like, what is this perfection? I say that the Sid Meier's game was the only game that I still play, but I guess, kind of play Modern Warfare when they port over the maps to the newer Call of Duties, and that's why this has to be number one. Y'all, at one point in time, I was in the top 100 players and Modern Warfare for a search and destroy that I did. I can't remember what particular category it was, but this was before you could cheat. It was so sad. I worked so hard. I mean, it wasn't like I was out there breaking rocks every day in a prison yard, but like every single day, 4 or 5 hours a day playing this game just to maintain that rank. And even then you still kind of fell. And then you just have random a-holes that knew how to get on the leaderboard by cheating. And boom, all that you worked for was gone. So I remember I used to rock hardcore search and destroy. Nothing but hardcore search and destroy. I knew every single map like the back of my hand, and I'd never lose. I mean, it was like playing poker with the cards up, you know. It was just absolute domination, and hours and hours of my day went into this every single day, and on the weekends even more, to the point where it doesn't matter what the Call of Duty game is now, because of all the time I spent with this game. I can pick up a controller and just make top in the leaderboard because of this, because they've kept things very similar, but this was everything changed. Everything changed with Modern Warfare. And of course, you know, I mean, I'm so full of crap, you might think. I just told you about how much I love stories, and then I go to a Call of Duty game. The Call of Duties are revered for having no story. Their stories are like 2 hours, and that's if you take your sweet time with them. The story was good. You get introduced to Soap and Captain Price. This game was so influential that they included it in subsequent releases as a bonus, and they ported over some of those maps that were in this. I mean, it doesn't matter how far away we can get from Modern Warfare. You can never get that far from Modern Warfare. It was such an incredible game, such an influence. So, anyways, that is my top 6. Like I said, leave me a like. Let me know in the comments what yours are, or if you've played these. And yeah, leave me a like if you want to see more of these. I was actually just straight up, I was gonna do a best 5 games of all time or something like that. And I started going through my PS3 collection, and I was like, no, like each and every console could have the top 5. So let me know if you want to see more. I'm happy to do it. Also, let me know if you like the gameplay videos. I find them relaxing. So I'll see you all on the next video.